Good afternoon, folks. Welcome into episode number 35 of Clark After Dark. After a 1 week hiatus, and obviously it was not that was not by our choosing. We had some technical difficulties, computers, technology, all that stuff can just truly be a pain in the ass. And that's what happened last week. Is Our scheduled guest was supposed to be Joshua Martin. Well, guess what? I told Josh that he is welcome to come back this week because we wasted about an hour of his time last week, and we don't want to do that again. We're happy to have Josh Martin on this weekend, who scored a top 10 finish in every single race for the Triple Crown Throwdown this past weekend between Sabine, Arklatex, and Boot Hill. It was a good run this weekend for the 88M. I'm going to talk to him and dive into what makes him tick, what makes him go, how much fun he has racing this USRA factory stock division, and obviously 30 grand on the line this weekend. Not much more that needs to be said. It's the biggest race in the history of factory stock racing this weekend. It's going to be a ton of fun. As always, joining me this week, my guest, my right-hand man out of Alexandria, Louisiana. Hey, congratulations, Cortland Smith, as we welcome him on. Congratulations, Cortland. He's now a soon-to-be married man, as he and Natalie are going to tie the knot. And congratulations to you and Natalie. That's just outstanding, man. Y'all been together for about 6 years, and just two little lovebirds, just carrying it on, man. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, I'm happy too. She's put up with a lot. She's put up with a lot of racing, and she's never once hindered me or told me not to go chase my dreams when I essentially moved away 3 hours away to go chase my dream racing and never turned down a chance to go to the racetrack. So she was due. She was due. I can tell you that much.
I didn't intend to start this podcast off this way, but I'm just going to go directly to Josh. Josh, how long you and Leslie have been together, right? Since y'all were in high school, right? Like that's your high school sweetheart.
Yeah, don't quote me. I think it's been 11 years though, or something like that. And it's been a long time though.
Yeah, but she knew whenever y'all got together, like she knew what she was signing up for, right? Like Natalie knows what she's signing up with Cortland. He took her to Sabine Speedway for their date on Friday night. But I mean, I'm sure Leslie knows when y'all got together, she knows that you like racing, and that's probably something y'all are going to do in the future.
Most of the time, our anniversary is during the King of the Hill weekend. That's pretty much how I keep up with it. And I always joke with her about eating under the candle lights in the motorhome at the table there, but whatever. But she puts up with more than most. I tell you that, between my ass and racing put together. So.
Yeah. Josh, man, you scored 8 wins in 2022. You got a couple wins 23. You only had 1 win last year. You come off this weekend. You scored a 7th Friday night, a 5th on Saturday, or a 7th, 5th, and a 7th. You got officially scored with a 7th at Arklatex. We didn't actually get to take the green. How would you assess this weekend for you? Are you satisfied or are you not? I mean, just tell me, how do you feel after? Because I feel like you got to feel pretty good of making that field with over 40 plus cars on Friday and then 60 plus on Saturday. How are you feeling after your performance this weekend?
I feel a lot better after Boot Hill Saturday. I kind of hit on some brake stuff. We got a brake adjuster now and worked on that a little bit for the feature and was a lot better. Hell, I think I failed a 9th or so Saturday during the feature and was able to come back to up to 5th. But it's better. That's probably the best my car has been. Obviously, the top 4 cars, CJ, Neil, and Justin and Faulkner there, I believe that's who you're going to have to race for 30,000, not knocking nobody else. And there's some more guys up there that can be a contender, but those 5 are pretty much who you're going to have to race and contend with.
Do you feel like this class right now is as competitive as it's ever been? I know we've had some years where it's super competitive, but right now, I feel like maybe even a month ago, Josh, I think just a month ago, people would have said unequivocally the 27 is the number 1 contender. Well, I think after last night and I think after Friday, when we've seen a more sample size of it, right after the rain out last month, that means we got 3 or 4 more tune-ups, and I think it's given us a better idea of who we're going to expect to be really fast, right? I think CJ's put his name up just on a higher echelon from even where he was before. I mean, what do you feel like right now as a competitor who races against these guys week in and week out? Do you feel like this class is as competitive as it's ever been?
Man, it's crazy. Me and Justin was talking Saturday. You come down there and like some race cars or whatever, you making slack on maintenance a hair, or you got to have your shit together. And I told Neil Saturday, I watched CJ Saturday morning there, and I said CJ will be good tonight because he worked on his car probably 5 hours Saturday morning, going over every little bitty detail that he could, and I knew his ass be a handful when it come feature time.
You talk about the maintenance, Josh, and that's one thing I got on my 3 things you need to win the 30,000. You, by all means, you got to have luck, you got to have speed, and most importantly, your equipment has to last the entire weekend. Put into perspective for just the average fan of how much maintenance that you really got to take to make sure you're prepared, because a lot of these guys are coming off a very extensive weekend, a very toll bearing weekend on the equipment? Like, how much maintenance is going into this week and just prepping to make sure everything hits on all cylinders?
Everybody knows how muddy Vivian was Saturday or Sunday. Of course, we didn't go to a car wash every day, but when I got home, I got back to the shop Monday, after we left Vivian Sunday night. The last thing I want to do was unload and wash for 3 hours. But with a short week, that's what you have to do. You have to get your shit going. You have to go over your stuff for this week. And you have to make sure all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed. And because, this is a short week. Hell, today's already Tuesday, and most of us will go to Boot Hill tomorrow night or Thursday morning, to get ready for the big weekend.
And
And
I don't know about you. You can go ahead,
no,
Cortland.
no. Go, Zach. No, you're good.
That's the part when you're doing a live deal.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we'll say, "Hey, you're next," but no, it happens. This is a live production here, folks. Sometimes it happens. Man, this weekend, the way I took for it, we kicked off Wednesday night. I was at Texarkana. I think that's the best that place has ever ran. I wish we could have thrown that a part of the Triple Crown Throwdown on Wednesday night and just made it a big ordeal, because that was the best I've seen that place race in a long time. And Portland and I will get into that in a minute. But Shane Hebert's got Sabine racy as hell right now. Like, that thing was super racy on Friday night. And Boot Hill, we know how Boot Hill's been this year, Josh, right? Like, it's been really, really good in the heats. It's been good in the B mains. And I know Bubba and Rollo have been scratching their head trying to get that thing dialed in for the feature. It's been kind of locking down and taking a little bit of rubber. This past week, we kind of had to trade in, not as great a heat racing, but for the features, man, it seemed like the track came along from a guy who was on the racetrack. The track seemed to race really, really good this past Saturday night. What was your take on it?
Yeah, somebody had said something about how wet it was during hot laps and packing the track and stuff, and you can't blame them for that. They'd had to have it that wet for hot laps and stuff. With as many cars hot lapped, or it'd have took rubber during the first B main. But I think the heat races was getting good. I was in the sixth one, and it was definitely getting better. Obviously, you would like it a little more racy for your heat race being. I think they mean so much for the 30. I almost think they're more important than the feature for the 30. But Bubba and him's got a plan. Like, I've been talking to him since the first rain out deal, and like the last thing he's going to do is let it take rubber, is what he's saying, and give us a good racetrack to race on, and that's all you can ask for.
How hard is it, though? I know I just talked about how competitive it is, but dude, you were up on the wheel this weekend, and like I said, just to make this field with 60-something cars is a feather in a cap. Like, I was super proud of Bo Perry this past weekend. He got up on the wheel in a car he has never driven before, and Bo put it in the show. I thought that was pretty damn impressive for a car he's never driven, and considering he hadn't raced all year. You've been racing every week with these guys, man. Just how, it might be silly to ask you this directly, but like, we know how hard it is. But when I ask you directly, dude, how hard is it to win? You won the 50th anniversary night at Boot Hill, and there was 48 cars there that night. And you know how hard this shit is. But like, after you win, you think it might get a little bit easier, but man, it just doesn't, does it? Like, this stuff never gets any easier, does it?
No, I always tell somebody, like, you take CJ, for example. I think a couple weeks ago when he won, I think there was 55 so cars for the feature at Boot Hill. There was 60 plus there this weekend, and he could go to Boot Hill this weekend and not even make the race. Like, he could be somebody's pick to go win 30 grand and not even make the feature, and that ought to show how tough it is. Like, hell, I told Adam Willis a few weeks ago I'm stressed out already, and it hadn't even got to the 30,000 yet. Just thinking about making the race is the biggest deal.
I'm gonna change directions here a little bit. Obviously, we know factory stocks is the lay of the land around here, Josh. But like, in your racing career, you've done very well in the factory stocks. Is there any other progression that you would want to go in your racing career? By all means, if somebody walked up to your front door with a Lucas Oil late model ride, I think anybody would be silly not to take it. But do you see a progression in this deal, or are we just going to continually keep on paying more money, and we're just going to keep all the good drivers in the factory stocks?
I don't know. Like, I think the B mod class would be a good class to get in. Like, besides them looking badass, like they're a fun car to drive, period. But I don't know how anybody would leave with the money that they pay. Like, the guy, somebody told me this week they felt like 20 race cars come out of the woods in the last couple of weeks, and that all contested the money. Like, if they didn't pay 30,000, you think Derek Grisby would have a factory? Hell no.
Yeah.
So, it contests to the money that they pay, and as long as the money's going to be there, and they're going to keep paying it, like, people are going to come keep, racing the cars that pay the money.
You've raced Jimmy Bird's Limited some in the past, right? Haven't you driven his Limited a few times?
Yeah, I bought his Limited before he ever raced it, and I raced a iStock before. Those are really, really fun to drive. But if I had my pick besides the factory, I'd like to race the B mod sometime.
Hey, I'm up in there, dude. Like I have really liked this USRA B mod class this year. We have a lot of good young talent, but man, you never really know who's going to win, right? The Williams twins have been hot, but like Boone Evans has been hot, Talon's been hot. Like you could, I mean, it's kind of like the factory stock deal right now. We could name off a list of probably 15 or 20 guys that could win this weekend, and you could do the same thing with the B mod, man. It's been a ton of fun. Like I think Cortland and I agreed. Like the last thing we wanted was like, yeah, that's what we need to do. Just add another modified class to the fray, right? So we can have now we can have 4 modified classes racing on one night. But man, it has been a ton of fun, man. And I think it'd be cool to see a guy like you racing it just to see how you could do it. And I think it'd be fun. Portland, you have anything additional you'd like to add on the B mod or any of that?
You hit the nail on the head. I hate the idea that we added another class in the Arklatex. You know, we already run 8 classes a night. If you want to hear my rampage on that, that we'll save that for another day. But now the B mod deal's growing. It's where we got to go to, man. We're still stuck in the. I say we're stuck in the old times. We're still in factory stocks and limited modifieds on stock suspension, stock frame, suspension parts. Like we can catch up with the times. You know, like you go to Mississippi and other places in the country, and everybody's on 4 9 inches or quick changes. You know, we can evolve with the times, but then a lot of people's going to spend a lot more money to get to the new equipment and all that. So it's a double-edged sword. Would I like to see us progress a little bit more? Yes, but do I see where the state of Arklatex racing is at? And we have a 30,000 win factory stock race. There's not a lot of places that can say that. So it's a double-edged sword.
Uh, Josh, I'm curious. What's your favorite racetrack around here? I'm assuming, and like I don't know the answer to this. I'm gonna assume that it's Arklatex. I don't know. You finished in the cage. You finished the top 5 in the Cajun Classic the last 3 years, and I think that's pretty damn impressive. You almost won there this year. You led 19 to 20 laps, and the bad luck just struck. I mean, and that seems to be the case. Like we had you on. We were gonna have you on last week because I feel like you could probably have a couple of wins this year, if not for bad luck. And listen, you hear a lot of drivers talk about, well, we just had a little bit of luck. It's like, well, buddy. Like you make your own luck too, right? Like you've had yourself in position. That was truly bad luck that night. Arklatex is your favorite track, I would assume.
Yeah, yeah, I would guess. We talked about how Bubba talked about Boot Hill. Like I hated going to that place, and I'll go there every week just because that's where the real race cars are at. But I
Yeah.
necessarily don't like it. I would rather go to Vivian or Manny or somewhere like that. But wherever the competition is at is where you have to go to be fast. So I mean, I'll go wherever they at.
Absolutely. We saw CJ win on Saturday night, man. He has been so fast in this force race car. What's it been like working with him? I mean, I know you guys have been close. Y'all been friends for several years, but to watch him grow from the young man that he was, man, he's been running this class since he was 12 years old. He's emerged from just a young kid and now he's a veteran. He's one of the stalwarts in this class that a lot of people respect and they lean on for information. You see the way CJ's running his business on Facebook. I'm really proud of him from afar, but for you, a guy who's worked with him and you've raced outlaw cars, you've raced KY cars, different chassis over the years. How satisfied are you working with CJ? I'm sure that he's been an open book, and it seems like you guys have got something pretty special going on.
Yeah, I joke with him all the time. I'll see him come pink at my right rear tire or what I got on or something like that, and I'll tell him, "Man, carry your ass on over there. Don't come over here looking what I got." But it, we tell each other whatever we need or whatever's on each other's car to kind of help each other back and forth. It's been good. The car's been really good. I think I've been in the lead 4 times and have to pull off this year over some dumb shit. But I mean, I really believe if you keep putting yourself in position, the wins will come. Um, Somebody texts me every week, "Good luck this weekend. This is your weekend," and then some dumb shit like Vivian raining out after I win my heat again over there or something takes you out of it again. But I don't know. I told Tyler Fogelman yesterday I'd trade all the bad luck and everything that if I could win that 30,000 this weekend, and didn't give a shit if I won another one this year or not.
Hell yeah.
100%. And to me, I think a big decision coming to this 30,000, coming from a former tire guy perspective, is it's going to be a tire game. I feel like you got 4 different options of tires that you could run. What's been the feel like? I tried to go peek at some tires in staging lane this past weekend, and I got a couple notes on it. But do you think it's going to come down to a tire choice, or do you think your car is going to be good enough to prevail, or you're going to have the right tire on?
No, I think you're still gonna have the right tire on, no matter if it takes rubber or it doesn't take rubber. Like um, the night I led every lap in Vivian, I was on a 1, but it was on the right rear, and it was super wet though. But I don't like. Of course, you'll be able to pick just because it's Boot Hill, but like through the weekend, I saw the difference in racetracks of how sandy Manny is and how so hard on tires. And Vivian used to be killer on tires and stuff like that. But um, I think the heat races will be pretty much laid out, but I think you'll see a lot of different choices in the future for sure.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love that the tire game is a thing, but also that adds more cost to racers. You know that you got to have four right rear tires ready to go. Essentially, you know you got to be ready for every condition. So I love it, but I hate the fact that it adds another cost to the racers.
Yeah, I was joking with somebody the other day, and somebody kept come peeking around, so I took some silicone and I wiped over the compound of my tire. Well, Stony Dubois come to me at Manny, and he looked at it and he said, "Is that a two, cuz?" And I said, "That's for me to know, Stony." And he just kind of put his head down and walked off. And I was really joking, but like he took off as I was serious, like you asshole, you know. But that's people hiding their stuff, and I mean that's what they're gonna do, you know, like to get the edge on whatever they can get.
Who this weekend like maybe caught your eye? Like, do you even pay attention to your competition? I mean, I'm just curious. Like, do you pay attention to your competition outside of? I mean, are you just when you're at the racetrack and your singular focus is on you? Like, I'm worried about me and I need to worry about me, or do you look around and say, hey, damn, that 16 car's fast tonight. He's never raced with us. That Hubert Cash, he kind of impressed me. But I mean, who may have caught your eye this weekend that like maybe you didn't expect?
Now, if I'm not at my car working on my car, you can look down at Boot Hill, and I'm standing on the entrance watching every lap of every race car that goes around there. And um, obviously, from the beginning of the year to now, Justin's gained a ton of speed and
Yeah.
looks like old Justin again. I don't know if Faulkner's off a little bit right now on something, or if everybody else is just caught up to Faulkner. Obviously, his car doesn't have to be as good just because he's one of the guys. He's one of the only guys I know that just will wheel the absolute shit out of one every lap, no matter what, no matter if it's good or bad. He's driving the shit out of it, and that's kind of where I thought I struggled last year a little bit because like 22 when I won all the races in the White Outlaw, I focused so much on the slicks of entering straight and driving off straight and being clean, and now we got groove tires that's essentially almost as wide as a damn late model tire is that you can just drive the hell out of them and you kind of conserve more than what you need to. And that's what I struggled with a good bit last year, but it's getting better. But I watch everybody like Craig's going to come. He's going to be, fast. He's faster than he's ever been. Um, I mean, there's all those Dallas cars. They somewhat struggle when they come over here. Dabney, he's decent and good when he comes over here. I think he ran third there a couple weeks ago at Boudreaux. So he'll be good. Pritchett will come. I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys that you'll have to race with versus this weekend. But shit, you don't look used to a couple years ago. You could look when they come in the pits and you'd say, "Man, I'm not worried about that guy." But your ass better be worried about everybody that drives in the pits now.
I mean, I feel the same way. I feel like it's gotten ultra competitive. I mean, this deal has always been really, really super competitive, but I really do, like you just said, you mentioned it. I think I'm not saying the 27 slowed down, but I think everybody may have caught up to him, and that's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
Like I don't. I mean, that's a good thing for the class overall. I mean, just to have one guy that's dominating. I mean, it's a good thing that everybody's catching up to him. Now we're having a little bit more competitive races, and definitely when 30,000 is on the line, we want to have the best possible show, right? But yeah, I mean, Faulkner he was driving that thing so deep off into the corners lane. I don't think he had the car to win, but like I thought late to myself, like, damn, he still might pull this off. Like he might pull the rabbit out of the hat here.
yeah,
It was impressive the way he was just up there just ripping the lip like that. But and CJ was just so calm and steady through the bottom. And Justin tried to get him on that last lap, but see, I found it interesting what CJ said in Victor Lane. CJ knew exactly in his head what he needed to do to keep the 36J at bay. He was talking about rolling through the middle to keep the car as straight arced as possible. I just thought coming from a 19-year-old, like, damn, like that's some veteran type, play by play from what he just experienced. I don't know. Like I really feel like CJ, it's going to be hard for him to go back to back after that win last week. But if anybody might be a new number one contender, damn, it might be the 2 car right now.
yeah. Talking about being a veteran, I bought that brand new Express from Bird in shit 23, I guess. And I got COVID one weekend. They rained out, and then I had to go to a wedding the next weekend. I let CJ run it at the 5,000 at Chatham, and I made it there for the feature. Was a nervous wreck. He led the whole race, and when I asked him what the motor turned because we had a factory stock motor in our car that CB built for me, and he said I turned it 6,800 until one to go. He said going down the back straightaway coming to the checkered, I checked it and it was 7,100. So you racing for $5 grand, 18, 17, 18 years old, and this dude's checking the tack going down the back straightaway. Like I wouldn't even looked at my gauges going down the back straightaway, and,
Right.
and he's telling me what RPMs it's turning on the last lap.
Wow. That's
That's
so
Yeah,
funny.
wild. That's
yeah,
wild. I never check my gauges unless a light flashed at me. I ain't gonna lie. I
yeah,
may have costed us
yeah.
a motor once or twice, but I never check my gauges. That's crazy. But no. So Josh, say you roll in here to 30,000, you high point man. What's just to get to know you a little bit? What hype music you gonna play before you roll off onto the track? What type of hype music you gonna listen to?
I have no idea, but if I had to let my little girl Brinley pick, she'd be a blasting big dog shit, no doubt about it, because that's
Oh
all
yeah.
day at the races. Play big dog shit.
That
Yeah,
memory popped up on my memories the other day for whenever she says CJ Howell's a big dog tonight.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
Emerson,
yeah,
wasn't it? Man?
yeah.
It's
Emerson,
hilarious.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, she was
yeah.
quoting me up there
Shit,
in the booth. I thought
yeah, yeah. They pay
great.
attention for sure.
Oh yeah, they were
No.
down there in Victor Lane. Like they were the first person in Victor Lane celebrating with CJ the other night, and I mentioned them over the PA, and then they were down there celebrating with Rodney too. Like they might be ate up with it just as much as you, Josh. You know.
Shit, somebody's got to get him a Victory Lane picture.
I was gonna ask you that too, like earlier. What's that like being a girl dad? You know, like you're a racer. I mean, there's a couple other guys that they just have girls. But what man? I know you love it. I see the smile on your face. What's it like being like a girl dad, man?
Drama, nothing but drama.
Yeah,
I told Leslie a couple weeks ago. I said the 30 either you have to stay at home and the kids go with me, or the kids have to stay home and you can go. Y'all pick. I said because y'all's drama stresses me the hell out at the racetrack and I can't deal with it. But it's good, man. It's fun. They play softball too at home, and they're into that real big this year and stuff. So, but they don't miss a weekend of racing no matter what, and so it's a good time. They're fun.
absolutely. I saw the video of one of them. I didn't pay close enough attention, but fist pump you before you rolled out on the track. And like, if that's me, if I'm dad, like that's gonna fire me the hell up. Like I'm going, like I'm going out here to put my best foot forward to win this for them. You know, like that's pretty cool. You know, and I think it's neat that you involve them. And man, they seemingly love this stuff, and I think they might be bigger fans of CJ Howell than Josh Martin. I don't know.
Yeah, it's getting there before. Just she had a video of Brinley the other day hollering she loves CJ House so much, and all I said was dumbass Martin kids, but whatever. But the little ones, whenever before I go out, she'll tell me to not kick their ass. She'll tell me to kick them ass every time, no matter if I'm hot lapping, packing the track. 30,000 features, kick them ass when you go out there.
Josh, do you remember? Do you remember sending me a message in 2000 and what was your first year in factory stocks? Was it 2018?
16, I think was the first
16, yeah.
factory year.
Well,
17, something like that.
I recall you sending me a message, and you sent it was a couple paragraphs, and you were letting me know who you were, where you came from, where you came from, the go kart background. Like you were giving me the spiel, like, "Hey, man, we're coming over here, and we're not just coming over here to run second. Like we're coming over here, and we mean business." And it turned my head. At that time, you just had that all black car with just plain 88M, and you came over to Arklatex, and if you didn't come over to Arklatex and show up and show out, and was it your birthday that weekend? I'm trying to remember, but
Yeah.
the man you showed up and you were number one point man, and I was like, holy smokes, like this Josh Martin ain't like he sent me a message and told us like he said, hey, y'all beware, we're coming. And by God, if you didn't come and put on a show and we're number one points man at Arklatex, I was like, wow, like it's one thing to say that you're gonna do it, but then to follow through and do it against the best factory stock competition around. That's something. So I knew then at that point in time, and I'm not kissing your ass, man. I knew at that point in time, like, man, like we got another special racer in Josh Martin. Like, I think he's gonna win some races. And man, you've done just that.
I'm a firm believer you have to put in time. You have to work no matter. I tell people all the time if I could only afford to race and be competitive and win and on a Huffy bicycle, that's what I would race, would be a Huffy bicycle. And um, I honestly will say, not down on anybody else, but I honestly will say, I don't know how most people do it. Like last year about killed me having to wait that long or with everything falling apart with the car. I went through two cars last year, umpteen motors and shit last year, and only went in once. Like, in my mind, our program's not that. Like, we shouldn't be doing that. In my mind, every feature that happens at Boot Hill or anywhere, we belong in that feature no matter what. No matter if we run 10th or 20th or win, we should be in the feature. That's what I strive on. And that's why I spend so much time and money doing this shit is to be competitive, And like I thought about this today. Winning the 30 would be great, but being competitive, top 5 or so in the 30, that'd be just as good for me too.
Yeah.
We talked about the 30,000 here, and Zach kind of alluded to it earlier. What would be your favorite racetrack? And we don't share notes, but we have a lot of the same things, obviously. But I got on here: take pieces of each Louisiana track and make your own dream track. So for a scenario like me, I would take the bleachers at Chatham. I love the fact they wrap all the way to turn 3. I love the surface at Boot Hill, but I like the shape of Manny. Take the pieces and parts of different racetracks and put together your dream Louisiana track. And where would you put it at?
Oh man,
Got you thinking on this one, bud. Got you thinking.
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't mind if even the size of Boot Hill would be the size of the Rev and be at that facility. Just the surface would be at either somewhere between Boot Hill and Arclitect, but that facility with a little bit more parking for the racetrack. It's a badass place over there. When they get their track surface figured out and they can get some racers over there and show that they can get a track surface going, I think they'll be a lot better. But um, yeah, I would have to say the facility at the Rev and Boot Hill or in Architects combines race surface.
That's good
We've
stuff
talked
there.
about CJ and you. Oh, sorry. We talked about CJ and you a bunch. The force chassis, y'all work together, but I think a lot of people don't understand. Just because you put the same 4 springs that are on his car and the same shocks does not mean that the car is going to handle nowhere near the same. Each car likes its own little different nicks and crannies. But how much different are y'all? Are y'all really close on notes, or are y'all as far off in left field as possible?
No, we're pretty close. We're a little different on shock package wise. He's tried the Penske's and hasn't liked them, and he's went back to some stuff. I mean, there's still Neo stuff, but there's some stuff that he's been on in the past, and he's really good. And I'm on the Penske's and liked them since I put them on there. But spring wise and stuff like that, we're pretty close. Doesn't get far off. I drove his at Boot Hill there a few weeks ago, and his car was really close to mine. And you know, each car is always different. No matter who builds them, Justin can build 10 in a row, and all 10 of them can be different. But I drove both of ours, and the stuff that we have changed, we've seen that the 2 cars pretty react most of the same. So it's been good. Like he built them side by side with each other and stuff, and um, we're not far off. I'm gonna be completely honest and unprideful. I just think he's a little better than me right now. Me personally as a driver, and when he wakes up in the morning, he's sleeping, breathing, and he's racing. And like I'm going to work and I'm dealing with kid shit and this and that, and I come home in the evening and work on race cars, and he thinks about racing every day long. I can point off something walking by in the pits or somebody and say something, and he never even acknowledges what I'm saying. He's going back to, hey, I think we need to do this to get faster for this weekend. Like he ain't even worried about nothing else. He's strictly worried about racing, and I really think that's why he's so damn successful right now.
He's the same way too, Cortland. I know you and we've raced a lot with CJ. I've raced a lot with CJ. I hang out with him in Discord on iRacing some, throughout the week. I haven't raced him in a couple of months, but he has that same kind of approach even when he does the iRacing stuff. Like he's really good at the UMP mods on iRacing. He builds his own setups and he won't ask anybody for help. But if anybody asks CJ for help, he's always your right hand man. Like he'll send over the setups in a heartbeat. But I mean, he's got me on dig on in the iRacing street, so it doesn't surprise me to hear that he's the same way and has that same approach with the real life stuff. And it really has been impressive for him to be not even 20 years old yet to have accomplished what he's been able to accomplish in his short career. And I love your honesty too, Josh, to be quite honest with you. I like the fact that you're saying, look, man, like I have a lot, like I've got, like I'm a full blown dad here. I've got a full-time job. I've got this. But that's what makes this factory stock thing go and why we love it so much, because a guy like you, Josh Martin, who works every day of the week, or a carpenter or electrician or whoever else that makes up this field of 24 on Saturday night, these are all your regular people, right? These are all normal,
Yeah.
everyday people that have normal jobs. And for the fact that they can go out and win a race that pays $30,000 to win, I think that's the part of it that really fires me up and gets me excited about this race. The fact that you could be standing in Victor Lane $30,000 richer. And, props to Bubba and Rollo for kind of, I'm not going to say necessarily thinking outside of the box, but for putting their ass on the line and paying this amount of money, man. Like, dude, I have not been as excited about a race as I am about this weekend in a long time, man. I hope you're as excited as I am, because we're fired up.
Yeah, you can't like the rain stuff, like rain percentages and this and that, and people will bitch and moan about it raining, or oh, they could have raced, or if it doesn't rain they could have got it in. They can't take a risk with the purse that they got. They have to have a good weekend to make the money to pay, or like, that's the kind of persons and shit that puts racetracks in a bind. So like they have to have that good turnout. Um, like I know we talked before, like Thursday, like they could have done without Thursday. They probably wouldn't made much money without Thursday, but they needed Thursday to race. So they have to have both days. And you'll hear these guys, well, they just turn it into a 1 day show. That puts all the money on 1 day. Like who knows you can come out on that shit. Like it needs to be a 2 day. It needs to be a 3 day race. So like not necessarily you want to say that with them guys they can make a killing or make you all your money or whatever, but hell, they ought to be rewarded for putting their ass on the line. If they make some money, then that's props to them. Like they deserve it for giving us the place to race for the big money. Um, I'm pretty sure Boot Hill pays the most weekly also for us. Like hell, we was talking about that deal day with Dabney. I know Josh Martin ain't driving to Kennedale to go race for no $325 because our ass is spoiled over here at this 6 and 500 every weekend. Hell, well, I lied. The rail pays $750 a week, so we're spoiled, and like like we have to support the racetracks for them to keep paying that kind of money. So that's some weekends I'd rather go camping, but then you think about it, like I need to have my ass at a racetrack supporting somebody too.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have to, in order to keep speed, to maintain speed and to stay up near the top of this class, do you have to continually race? We see that like with the Lucas Oil late models or, in the national dirt late model scene. If you're not racing full time, like Bobby Pierce just won the Show Me this past weekend with Lucas, I don't think anybody was picking him on Saturday night, but it's still Bobby freaking Pierce, right? And he races all the time. When the Outlaws are off, he's racing. Do you feel like if you're not racing, you're not gaining speed and you're losing your edge?
Uh, I always go back to 22 in the White Outlaw. I didn't have a motorhome then, and I would race Manny on Fridays, and I would stay in Bubba and M's camper over there, and I'd go somewhere else Saturday. And I think it was on Race Pass 50 or 55 shows or something like that I raced that year. And that was no doubt, my best year. And I believe you have to be in your race car all the time to get better and know what it reacts to this and what it reacts to that. And um, everybody else was kind of bitching and moaning about racing 3 nights before the 30. Shit, I wish we could have raced Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and went to Boot Hill on Thursday. Like that'd have been fine with me.
We talked about getting spoiled with money around here. Y'all mentioned it. This race pays $1,000 just to start. And we talk about how they need this entire weekend to go well, just because of the amount of the purse money the amount of purse money that's out there. $1,000 to start, Josh. Have you ever? I don't think you've won a race more than that. Maybe you have. Maybe I got one slip in my mind. But just how much, like you said, we're spoiled. We get to just to make the show. You get paid $1,000. What does that mean?
Uh, that pretty much pays for your weekend. Like hell, you could go there and your weekend be paid. And I think the only other weekend that I knew paid that much to start was I think Justin's race when he paid 60.
Mm-hmm.
It was only 6,500 to win, but it was 1,250 to start. And of course, it was at Vivian, and I was fortunate enough to get locked in that night too in the top four. And so your whole weekend was paid. But the $1,000 is, like you go race 2 nights and not make that, and you can make it in one feature there. So that's why I say the purse is so big, and they need all the support and all the nights they can get.
All right, you've won at every single track around the Arklatex except for Texarkana 67 Speedway, and I'm not giving you hell on that because I know it's a pretty good haul for you, right? So it's probably close to 4 hours for you. Now, I could understand if you have an opinion on why you may have not wanted to race there in the past, but if you pull up that RaceON broadcast and if you watch that on Wednesday night, you'd had to have been thinking to yourself as a racer, like, damn, like I need a race at this joint. That I know Cortland probably felt the same way. He's a former driver, and I'm not just blowing sunshine up Tim's ass. I love Tim and I love what they're doing there. But like, damn, dude, that racetrack was so racy on Wednesday night. When you gonna come try to knock a win down at Texarkana 67 Speedway?
Well, I actually stay in Shreveport now during the week for work, so I'm up here all the time anyway. I think I go home on Thursdays to watch my little girl play ball, and I come right back on Fridays to go race. But my plans was to go to there. The only thing Wednesday, but the only thing that killed it was I wanted to go to Rocket too, and it was 4.5 hours from Rocket back to Sabine for Friday. And judging by the racetrack, like I'll be honest, all year seeing the racetrack, I wasn't going to go to Justin's race because it was at 67 because it's been so muddy and it's been so hammered down, and it's to me it doesn't create good racing for the factory stocks. It made for a sprint car, but it doesn't for a factory, and I wasn't going to go. But after seeing it Wednesday and the racetrack keeps being like that, like I'll definitely go. The racetrack looked awesome Wednesday, and me and CJ talked about both of us regret not going up there Wednesday to giving it a shot.
Yeah, well, hey, you know, in hindsight's always 2020, right? Like, even down to the things that I say on the mic when I call things that are a slide job when they're not a slide job. Hindsight is always 2020, man. Like, but I was even impressed with the track, and and hearing that come from you as a racer, and you saw how well it raced. I feel like that probably just picked up Justin's car count for his Mike Parker Memorial, probably about 20 or 30 cars. I mean, I feel like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
raced that much better than it has. They did themselves a major service by performing so well on Wednesday night for the whole world to see.
Well, in most places, you see them. Tim was on there digging up, truck size holes in the corner, and like I would have never dreamed that it would have been this smooth as it was the very next weekend. Like most of them, it takes a couple weekends to get it run in, but the racetrack it looked great, and um, we look forward to being there to try to get Justin's money there too.
As a racer, we headed into this 30,000. I know me, I always had certain spots I like to park at a racetrack. It's just some there, you race at
Mhm.
Boot Hill so much now, Josh. There's certain spots you like to get in, and then you get comfortable. Then if you have to move spots, you feel like you're out of place or whatever. What's going to be your go-to spot? Are you going to get there Wednesday night and rope you off an area, or where's your go-to spot to park at Boot Hill?
Do y'all know where Winter Circle Boulevard is?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's
right
where
on
I'll
the
be.
corner of Daytona.
That's where I'll be. I told him Saturday when we went over there. I said I'm not backing up to those tents. The tents are nice for your race car, but in the sun that we got in the heat, the motorhome struggled in that heat with the ACs and stuff. So we pulled up in that little cubby hole on Winter Circle Boulevard. It was shady all weekend. It was concrete. I didn't have to pay $150 for no slab. So uh, hopefully this don't come out and somebody go park out Tuesday or something with this shit. But that's where I'll be at, hiding in the woods.
Hell yeah. Josh, I always typically before I let a driver get out of here, man, I allow you to thank anybody on your racing program who helps you. You know, it's helped you maybe from the beginning. They may not even be with you anymore, but anybody that you want to thank that's helped you get to this point. And I just want to ask you, could you race? Could you race without sponsorship?
No, without a doubt, no.
Yeah.
And like I don't have the sponsors that people have that say, hey, here's you $2,500 or $3,000 for the year or whatever. Like I got some people that help me all year during the year, and it probably amounts to way more than that. So, but without people like that, hell no, you couldn't race all year.
Absolutely. Man, let's hear about them, man. Tell us about some of them great folks that are on the 80 car.
Of course, CJ with Force Chassis, Neil, Club 20 suspension, best engines. That was a game changer for me this year. Going getting with Chuck, and he's been awesome. K&M Auto Rebuilders, Timothy Lawrence, he helps me a ton. Uh, CP Seamless Gutters, he'll pick up my pit passes every now and then. Oh, Pursley, my mom, Scotty, Rodney. Shit, I know I'm gonna forget somebody. J&M Sandblasting, F5 Mobile Pressure Washing, Jimmy Bird, he helps me a bunch. Big T Motorsports, Todd Dozot, uh, whoever hell else I'm forgetting. Oh, shit, probably the most important one, John Mitchell. I probably have a bill at John Mitchell's every weekend that we race. And he always gets his money, but I bet I have a bill there every weekend that we race, and it helps me a ton. He gets me whatever I need and tells me to go race, and we'll handle it later. And like shit, I appreciate the shit out of that, and helps me during the year for sure.
Josh is the Facebook post that John Mitchell's making. You know, he's the one that John's making the Facebook post about.
No, no,
I'm
no,
just
no. Hey,
kidding. I
he'll
know.
text me and he'll put them posts and he'll say, "I ain't talking about you. You good or whatever." And he'll go on
Yeah.
about it, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
"But are you really talking about me?"
Yeah. No, it's good to have good people. Like John Mitchell's a great guy, man. He's good to have good to
Yeah,
have in your corner for sure, man. He's done a lot for so many people for so many years too, man. T5 Enterprise, just a great dude, man. Josh, if you can't pick
yeah.
yourself, I know you'd love to win this 30,000. Don't tell us Dalton, don't tell me Justin, don't tell me CJ. Outside of yourself, I know you'd love to win this race, but give me maybe a couple drivers who maybe we're not thinking about. Give me a couple drivers that maybe we're not thinking about. And it could be even a Chris Hennigan, right? Like he hadn't raced the factory stock but a couple times this year and only once last year. Give me a couple drivers maybe we're not thinking about that's going to be in there in the mix come Saturday night.
I think Neil's been underrated the last year
He was
or
rolling
so.
Saturday night. He was
He
rolling
was he
Saturday.
was really fast. He was really fast Saturday night. Me and Bubba stood there, and he was good in his B main too.
Yeah.
So he'll be one. I think Craig, coming, he'll be another. If Craig can stay out of Craig personally's own head, if he can keep his shit together and not psych himself out, he'll be really fast and really good. I don't know, man. There's so many other people that can come and win. Shit, I don't know. It'll be a handful with whoever's going to be there. Though Mason Martin and them, they're quick. I don't know his other driver or if he's got a certain driver or whatever, but he'll be fast. I think Colby Mewburn's driving Gary's car. He'll probably be a contender. So there's a handful. Like I don't want to toot our own horn, but kind of like Bubba said, if the Dallas cars are going to come over here and take it from us, they got their work cut out for them for sure because there's some badass race car drivers over here, and we race here weekly, so it'll be tough.
Uh, I got to talk to Josh about this, Zach, because this is funny. I wasn't going to mention it, but I'm going to. I get to make my pit reporting debut this weekend, and I'm absolutely ecstatic about it. Josh,
we're fired
you
up.
can agree about 4 or 5 years ago, we're at the races just hanging out one night, and Justin Whitehead's talking about his Mike Parker, and he wants 3 announcers. He wants a pit reporter, and we're all standing there, and Josh Martin said, why don't you get Big Sexy to do it? Like he said, I wouldn't want anybody else. If I just wipe my stuff out for 10,000, I wouldn't want anybody else to come and interview me. So it's funny we're getting to do this podcast before I make my debut because Josh was the one that threw my name up there 4 or 5 years ago.
So you probably take it off of Steve, like the night I rode the wheel off and at Vivian there a couple weeks ago, and I pulled up in tech and I throw my helmet and I throw my steering wheel, and then I get out and this whole front straightaway is cheering for Gary Harvin after I just straightawayed his ass, and like I'm pissed. And Steve, he had his compression gauge there, and he let me check compression, and he looked at me and he said, "I know you mad. Just go to your trailer." He said, "You're good." So he let me go. So like you could have took the heat off of Steve there and got a good interview with me being pissed right there.
Hell yeah.
100%.
Man, dude, I like I said earlier, I don't think I've been as excited about a race. I tell this story sometimes. I passed up announcing the Bad Boy 98 at Batesville Motor Speedway. It was comp cams. It was co-sanctioned with Lucas at the time, but I turned that down because Justin Whitehead had his factory stock 50 going on at Timberline. That's how much I love factory stock racing, man. And I mean, I love late models too, but there's just something special about what we've got. What we've got going in the water in the Arklatex area, man. Ultimately, I could give 2 shits who wins that race this weekend. I just hope it's a great race, and I hope everybody has a great experience. And I hope it's something that it's so great that it can continue to happen again. I know that after you start having it over and over, kind of like the inaugural King of the Hill, like it was so special that we felt like we needed to do it again. And now this is our 11th year, right? Like we never want to lose the credibility and the excitement of these events, right? Like that's what makes us all keep wanting to come back is the excitement of it and the fact that it is paying $30,000 to win. And I think if this thing's a home run, we could continue to have it every year. I don't think Bubba and Rollo are scared of the gamble. I think they just want to see that it's going to get support. And I think that it will. And man, we couldn't have been happier to have anybody other than you on tonight, man. You were great, Josh. Honestly, you've always been really well at talking. I wasn't sure how you do on a podcast, but obviously I wasn't too worried about it because I wasn't worried about having you on two straight weeks. And I didn't want to waste a whole nother hour of your time tonight, man. I just wanted to thank you so much for coming on, dude. You were awesome tonight. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep, I appreciate it.
There he is, folks. That's Joshua Martin. He's out of Colfax, Louisiana. He's the driver of car number 88M in that Force chassis. He's got a best engine underneath the hood. Going after $30,000 this weekend to the Boot Hill Speedway. Josh, you're awesome, brother. You can sign out if you like. It's up to you. Me and Cortland are just going to hit a couple of things that happened in the Triple Crown Throwdown and the Speed Weeks. If you want to hang out with us, you're more than welcome. If you leave, it's not going to hurt our feelings. But I know some folks are hoping that we were going to hit a couple of these things, so that's what we're going to do at this time. Cortland, Wednesday night, Texarkana. We just talked with Josh about that. You watched it. Kevin Ramey got the win. I'm not a big 305 sprint car guy. Like I don't get to call them very often. I don't see them. But dude, that was one of the best sprint. Just forget 305s. Let's take 305 out of the equation. That was one of the best sprint car races I've seen in a long time. They were up on that razor thin cushion on the top, and Ramey was holding off that Ryder LaPlante. Dude, that was some quality racing. Like that was as good as it gets.
man, and we've hit it several times, but just the track surface, man, like the picture, I don't know if it was Tim put it out there, somebody put a picture, and literally the berm was up on the wall like you see up north and there and at other places. Like you had to, if you were going to run the cushion, you had to ride the wall essentially, and Ramey would enter below it and then kind of catch it leaving. But man, I'm not scared to say I'm not the biggest sprint car fan in the world, but I was a sprint car fan this weekend within 305s, man.
Yeah, and then they went to Rocket on Thursday night. I think Ryder LaPlante came back, and I think he got the win there on Friday. We had a driver who doubled up with 2 wins on the week, right? John Carney got a couple of them, and then Jeb Sessoms got the win at Heart of Texas on Sunday. Dude, this was a huge week, right, for RaceOn.com for the entirety on the platform. We had the Triple Crown Throwdown obviously taking place, but for us to be able to race Wednesday night at 67 and then go to Rocket Friday. And we had a lot of drivers like Justin Whitehead ran them all. He ran Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Like that was such a great 2 weeks for everybody, whether you were there supporting the sprint car deal or whether you were a support class division like a factory stock or a B mod. Like, dude, it was such a great week, man. The weather was phenomenal up until about 10:35 on Sunday night. But other than that, dude, like this was a phenomenal week, man. And I was so fired up about how great it was.
You took all the words out of my mouth, man. Just a phenomenal week. I think, when last week when I did a little piece there for you after we had technical difficulties, man, like there was like 16 or 17 something races on the RaceOn platform between the Race Seaver Speed Week, the Triple Crown Throwdown. It was just so much racing action to take in. It didn't matter if you were a fan of, literally, as Kamo would say, sprint car, factory stock. It don't matter. You could find something that you would want to watch on the RaceOn platform. And what a weekend to have, Memorial Day weekend, one of the bigger racing weekends that there is in the country, and just for everything to go like it did. Phenomenal weather, like you said, up until the last minute there, but just couldn't ask for much better. Couldn't ask for much better.
We had 21 drivers run all 5 nights. That's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool stuff. And hey, that goes back to that conversation that I brought up and I put it out on social media a couple of weeks ago. What do y'all think about racing in the middle of the week? Like I know we talked about it and we knew that the Wednesday night Race Saver Speed Week event was going to happen at Texarkana. But I'd love to see it happen a little bit more often, right? Like everything kind of fell into our hands. The weather was good, and that's what you need for these things to roll off, without any kind of hiccups. But man, it was phenomenal. And dude, the grandstands, like we had more fans in the stands on Wednesday night at 67 than we had on the Friday prior. Like I can't say enough good things about it. Hey, let's talk about the Triple Crown Throwdown real quick. Josh Martin just kind of alluded to it. I'm not saying he ever left, but is 36J back?
36J is back to 36J, about 3 years ago or before then. 36J is back to his standard, because I know CJ won at Boot Hill on Saturday, and he did. I didn't look at lap times to really see who was the best the last 3, or I did. The last 3 lap average, I think Faulkner had the fastest lap. I may be wrong, but I mean 36J could have easily won that race if he would have got to the lead before CJ. And he's definitely found some speed. Josh said it. We've talked about it. 36J's found another gear this year, and he's going to be a tough one to beat. I think he's going to do everything he can to defend his crown of the best in the factory stocks.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man, because I don't think there's just a number one contender anymore. Like a lot of people are going to say Faulkner, but now you're throwing in Whitehead. Now you're throwing in CJ. You're throwing in Martin. You're throwing in Brett Frazier. You're throwing this guy. You're throwing this guy. And that's why we're showing up the race. Like, Lee, dude, I couldn't sound any more corny about it, dude. I'm so fired up about this weekend's event, dude. And the weather, it was looking sketchier a few days ago, but as we've gone on more into this week, dude, the weather forecast is really shaping up to be nice. And I've talked to Rollo and Bubba about it personally. I talked to him after the races Saturday night, Cortland. I said, what are you guys feeling about it? Like, I want to know what y'all are looking at this week. What are we going to do? They said, we're going to race, cuz obviously if we can't, but we're going to do everything we can. That was the objective and the goal the first time. But they said, we would love to not have to water the track this week. Like, we're going to be out here working the track anyway. And if Mother Nature helps us water it, then by all means, that would be wonderful. And he said they're only calling for like a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch there. So folks, Greenwood's the place to be this weekend. We're racing for 30,000 this weekend, and I couldn't be any more excited. I know I've said that 1,000 times over the last 3 or 4 months, or really the last calendar year. But here we are again, Cortland. We're finally here. The 30,000 is back again.
We are absolutely excited, man. And don't worry about that little bit of rain, like Bubba and Rollo said. Y'all heard I said it last time we previewed the 30,000. the good Lord can water the racetrack better than anybody else, man. And there's something about just that natural water. It holds better. It's something different about it, you know. And I've been a proprietor early on in the year. Like Boot Hill needs to be a little bit wetter. Boot Hill needs to be a little bit wetter. We talked about this before, Zach, and when we saw this past weekend that maybe if it starts off a little sloppy in hot laps and maybe it's only about 2 grooves wide in the heat race, it ain't the end of the world, guys, because by the time when the money is going to get paid, I promise you that track will be in tip top shape. And I know Bubba and Rollo, they're working, they work tirelessly, man. Any track promoter does. You can tell the ones that put in the 100% effort, and they're ones that do it. And so don't worry about the rain. I say that, you know, only the good Lord can tell, and we hope we get it in. But I wouldn't be worried about a 1/4 inch of rain on Wednesday night. I can tell you that much.
That's right.
Come on. That's right.
Hit him a couple air horns real quick. We like that. We like it. We love it. We want some more of it. How would you rank, man, real quick before we get out of here? How would you rank? Obviously, we can't throw Arklatex into the mix, so I think the A-Main was about to be pretty sporty. We had an interesting front row. Brett Frazier was on the pole. He was looking for his second career win at Arklatex in the USRA factory stock. I think it was about to be interesting because we had the whole Triple Crown Throwdown points at stake and everything else. Whitehead ends up getting it by virtue of the rain out, and they were awarded their finish or their starting positions there. But I think it's hard for me. I think Sabine was like really, really good on Friday. Super racy. Shane Bears had that thing on point this year. And then Saturday night at Boot Hill, like we said, the heat races and so on weren't that great. But man, this is what, right? Like this is what we've been looking for and what we've been wanting out of Boot Hill right this year. Right. The heats and the bees weren't, well, the bees were pretty good, but the heats weren't as phenomenal as they've been. But I'm sure you would agree with the assessment that you can't get much better than that A feature. They were racing all over it, and we got a photo finish.
Yeah, I text you during hot laps. I said, man, the heat races may not be good, but the features are going to race phenomenal. And even like you said, the B mains, I don't see many guys that didn't make the show that shouldn't have because the B mains were one lane or anything. Like a lot of guys were able to work their way up through the B mains and make the feature. I think Neil had to start deep in his B main and worked his way all the way up. And then again, was a hard charge in the feature. But yeah. But anyway, like it's a very fine line. Like I've said it before. Act like some people may think I know it all or act like I know it all. I don't. I just use my knowledge I've gained over the years, been blessed and fortunate to do, and just you need to have that thing a little bit wetter. And it was, and we're just, man, if we can hit on that this weekend, it is going to be an absolute slobber knocker for $30,000. Like if we can get close to that, it's gonna be an all out brawl.
By the way, I need to thank you for stepping up to the plate last week. We got rained out here on the podcast on Tuesday. Most of you have heard it by now. Man, I had a bunch of people reach out like, man, where's the podcast? And then when it came out Thursday on Spotify and iHeart and everything else, everybody started messaging me like, dude, Cortland did a great job. And I'm like, yeah, he did. Like, that's why I have him on here every week because he's awesome. But yeah, man, you did a good job last week without me. I didn't like the fact that you had to do it without me. But I appreciate you stepping up. And here's what we're going to do this week. Here's our final segment of the day. Here's Court's Corners. And when we do that, man, I'm going to play with my new mixer, and I'm going to give you some intro music. So we're going to do the car starting. Vroom, vroom. All right, we're going to start the car and hit. And here comes your first. Here's Court's Corners, baby, right here on Clark After Dark.
I love it. The stems modified.
Go ahead, baby.
Oh, it's all good. Live production. We'll get her tuned in next week. Stems modified feature at South Texas Speedway. A pretty good race, man. I love series racing. I love the fact that we're getting the modified deal going. Johnny Torres, JT, I think he should be at Boot Hill for the 30,000. I don't see why he would miss it. JT picked up the dub over a solid field, man. I talked about the stems modifieds before. What a great series they got going on, and to get modified racing back going. Some B mod love, man. Cody Tupper picks up 2 wins this week, and Phil Dixon comes away with 2 second place finishes at Manny and Boot Hill. And I think he was going to start on the front row of the A main. Was he awarded the win? I don't know for sure, but B mod love. Hey, it is what it is, man. Cody Tupper had a heck of a week, and so did Phil Dixon.
He did. God, dude. Hey, and that race Wednesday night, dude. Like, I don't want to interrupt you, but that race with Chase Hatton, Vinny Gabar, and Tupper on Wednesday at 67, one of the best races I've seen all year. What a showcase.
Barn burner. I hit it on the podcast last week, but a barn burner banger, bud. BBB, barn burner banger.
Yeah.
The 305 Race Receiver Speedway, you hit a couple of the winners already, had them down. But, man, a 34-car average for I believe this is the first year they've had this. For a 34-car average and guys to come from a lot of different places across the country, what a good thing and way to support the resurgence of this Race Receiver 305 sprints. And then we talked about it with Josh, man. I got tires. The tire guy in me is absolutely loving this for this weekend, and I'm so excited I get to be a pit reporter and maybe it shows some of my knowledge and get to explain to some of the race fans all the different things that are going on with the tires. But tires this weekend. I'll try to do my best to keep everybody updated. The 30,000, Josh said it, that it may possibly become a tire game, and it's going to be quite the decision. It's going to be interesting to see guys at the last second changing tires because somebody went this way or the other.
It is very interesting for sure. Is that a wrap on the Corks Corners?
That's right. Well, hey, there's only 4 corners on a racetrack. That was 4 of them, bud.
That's all you need, baby. That's all you need is all 4 corners.
4 tires and a steering wheel, right? 4 tires and a steering wheel. That's all you need.
And I want to add a couple of cents into the Race Saver deal. I don't know if you caught the interview that I did on the front straightaway with Seneca, Pennsylvania's Jacob Gamala. Gamala came home second and had a good run. Right, like it was really impressive. It caught my attention when he said to me that because he just raced at Lernerville last week. Okay, he was racing at Lernerville Speedway last weekend, and he said to me that, yeah, man, we're actually looking into moving down here so we can race 305s a little bit. I haven't heard anybody from Pennsylvania. You're up there near the PA Posse. I haven't heard anybody come out and tell me that they're looking into moving to Texas so they can race sprint cars more often. And I almost stopped myself and said, sir, you need to reevaluate your decision. No, I love the fact that, you know what, that if he's feeling like this area is good for sprint car racing, then guess what? We might be. We might have something more going on around here than I'm aware of. But I was excited about it, dude. And I'm telling you, the 305 Race Saver Speedway couldn't have went any better than it did. Tip of the cap to everybody with RaceON. Tip of the cap with Nathan Moore, Danielle Moore, Sean Conrad. He's the voice of that series. Everybody that makes that thing go, I'm telling you, Nathan Moore has done something really special with his Elite 410 non-wing sprint car deal over the last few years, and now he's got something special with the wing sprint car deal. Like, I think that guy's just really good for open wheel racing around the state of Texas. If it weren't for Nathan Moore, I'm not really sure if this thing would have ever even happened at the get-go or where we would be in general. And for, as far as the totality of sprint car racing in our area, I'm not sure where we'd be. So props to Nathan Moore and Chris David with RaceON and putting this speed week together and really hitting a home run, man. I think it was so badass, it'll probably happen again.
And also another thing to hit on for the people that don't understand how much goes into planning a speed week like this, you have to have all the tracks agree on what night they want to run. You have to get your payouts out there. There's just a lot of logistics and everything that has to get put together for this deal. And like you said, it was an absolute home run. I mean, it was 33 cars, 34, 34, 36, 33. I mean, to have 33 plus cars every night. I mean, it really was awesome. And just the way it all laid out, I don't think you heard a lot of people complaining. I know a couple nights, maybe it rubbered up here or there, but you get that in big time automobile racing.
Yeah. So you can hear the dogs barking in the background. I am currently, I'm in Houghton, Louisiana, in my stomping grounds. My parents are in Florida for a couple of weeks. They're on a very deserving vacation. They usually go this time of the year. My dad's birthday is tomorrow, by the way. Happy birthday, Dad. Love you. May 28th. So anyway, they're out of town in Florida. So I told them that I would house sit and dog sit for them. You hear Lenny, Finn, and Georgie, the 3. They're Labradoodles or whatever doodle. I don't know. They're like King Cavaliers / poodles. I don't know. I'm just here taking care of them. They're awesome dogs. And with that being said, before they bark me out of here, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. This has been Clark After Dark, episode 35. Colton, I love you, buddy. Congratulations to you and Natalie. I am so happy for you guys, man. Y'all are 2 of the best people that I know, and y'all have a great future ahead, man. I truly mean that, and I'm very happy for you both.
Man, I appreciate the kind words, and I'm kind of selfish when I planned this out. I didn't expect the 30,000 to get rained out, but everybody show up. It's an engagement party Thursday night at the pit party, boys. Let's go.
Come on.
Come on.
Right here. On the way out, we're going to do something. What are we going to do? All right. Yeah, we're going to play T.I. I'm a king on the way out.
I'm taking a rap straight up for these niggas.
All right, bro. We'll see you later.
Everybody want to be the king, go to South.